Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me for Kids Corner. Today, we are going to hear a story called The Exodus. So let's take a deep breath because we have to be ready. This is the desert. This isn't the whole desert. It's just a piece of it. We need a piece of the desert here because so many things that happened to the people of God happened in the desert. The desert is a dangerous place. It almost never rains in the desert, so it's very hard for anything to grow or to find any water to drink, and people need food and water to live. When the wind comes, it blows the sand and the shape of the desert changes. People can lose their way. The desert is a dangerous place. You need to be ready to go to the desert. The people of God were living in a place where the rains did not come. The crops had no water and could not grow. There was no grain to grind to make bread. Everyone was hungry. And sometimes the children cried. So their mothers and their fathers decided to take their children and go to a new land where there was food. They had to go, even if it was across the desert. Their journey had begun. It was hard in the desert, but they had to keep going. They kept going to a land called Egypt. And in the land of Egypt, there was a king called the Pharaoh. When the people came to Egypt, they found food and work, but the Pharaoh trapped them, and they could not go home. They had to do what the Pharaoh said. They had to live where the Pharaoh said. They had to get up when the Pharaoh said. They had to go to bed when the Pharaoh said. They had to eat what the Pharaoh said. They had to do the work the Pharaoh said. They had to do everything the Pharaoh said, because the people of God had become slaves. One of the people, whose name was Moses, came to the Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." But the Pharaoh said, "No." Moses went back many times to tell the Pharaoh, "Let my people go." But the Pharaoh always said, "No." Then many strange things happened in the land, but the Pharaoh still kept saying no to Moses. Then something terrible happened. The oldest boy in each of the Egyptian family died, even in the family of the Pharaoh. The oldest boys in the families of the people of God lived. When Moses went back this time and said, "Let my people go," Pharaoh said, "Yes." The people began to hurry to get everything ready. They packed their things and quickly baked bread, but there was no time to let it rise, for it to get big and fluffy like the bread that we eat. Instead, they had to take it flat. You can still get this bread today. It's called matzo. And every time you taste the matzo, you can taste this story. The people went as fast as they could. They were afraid the Pharaoh would change his mind. Then, suddenly, they heard the sound they didn't want to hear as the ground began to shake. The Pharaoh's army was coming after them. The beating of the horses' hooves and the rolling of the chariots sounded like thunder. And soon the army of the Pharaoh had pushed the people against the water. They did not know what to do. But then God came so close to Moses, and Moses came so close to God, that Moses knew what he needed to do. Moses knew how to take the people through the water to freedom. This person of God looks scared. This person of God is dancing. She's so happy. This person of God seems unsure of what to do. When all the people were safe on the other side, the water closed behind them. They were free. The army of the Pharaoh could not get them. Now all of the people were free on the other side. They were so happy, they just had to give thanks to God. And Miriam, the sister of Moses, led in the dancing. Now I wonder which part of this story you liked the best. I wonder which part of this story is especially about you. I wonder which part of this story is the most important. I wonder if there is any part of this story that we can leave out and still have all we need. Thank you for joining me for this story this morning. If you do any artwork, if you draw or paint or sculpt or do some kind of craft about the story of the Exodus and the people of God, I invite you to have an adult in your home take a picture of it and send it to me. And next week, when I'm back at work, I'll post it on Facebook for all of our faith community to see. Take care. Bye for now, and I'll see you next week.